Alright, so when I said I would expose this all, I meant it. And then people treated me like I was a liar. And the news showed I wasn't lying about Officer Waylon Lolotai. It showed that I wasn't lying about Clearview. I posted the evidence that showed that Natalie and her family were the ones who lied, the ones who slandered my name. I proved that I tried to get a hold of those people to try to put a stop to it. I also proved that I went to the police repeatedly beforehand, and every officer that I spoke to blew me off. What the officers, the judges, and the public pretenders did after that was hell, and it still is. Well, I gotta sneeze. I'm gonna pause this. Recent events have shown me that Jamie Curtis was playing head games. That's her MO, though. Between J.C. Otska, and Hayden McCall, myself, James Payton, and Todd Harmon, show that really she has absolutely no respect for anybody. She's interested in what she can get for free. As far as Clearview goes, Clearview is not the only facility where they do these things. The fact is, this is standard protocol across the United States when you try telling on a police officer. Same thing that they do to children in the system. They back you into a corner, separate you from anybody, and terrorize you for trying to come forward. I've spoken with at least 20 nurses who, at least in some capacity, have tried to come forward about it. Some of those nurses I recorded, some of them it was in text messaging, some of it was on Facebook Messenger. I've proven that the officers stole my evidence from one jurisdiction, transferred it to another, and did not enter it in as evidence. They entered it in just as property. As far as getting the paper trail that shows that all these people did wrongdoing, that paper trail exists, and some of it I've actually had in my hands. However, without a permanent address and an actual mailbox, getting those things is damn near impossible. The officers here in Chapel, Nebraska, covering up for their own wrongdoing, covering up for their own officers, and then allowing those officers to transfer out of state so that charges cannot be brought against them, or rather, they cannot be pursued. Well, that all comes down to Sheriff Scott DaCosta trying to cover the wrongdoing of his department, trying to cover not just police negligence, but also the fact that they were terrorizing human beings. The same thing in Colorado. I proved that Officer Michael Beard harassed Candace. She had to be afraid of being thrown out into the snow in January of 2018. For what? For doing the right thing. The police outright intimidated many people. And like I said many times before any of this ever happened, these people have to be afraid because they have children. They have to be afraid of what will happen to their children. Now, instead of harassing me and harassing my loved ones, these officers should have been investigating. Now, the officers had no problems jumping across multiple jurisdictions to threaten, harass, and intimidate people. They had no problems stealing evidence from other jurisdictions. They had no problems with transferring evidence to other jurisdictions. The fact is, the Bollinger family are a bunch of crooks, they're a bunch of drug dealers, they're a bunch of child abusers, and they all deserve prison. Now, I understand how a lot of these people want to protect their families, especially their mothers and fathers, because they want their mothers and fathers to love them. The fact is, that don't make it right. And it is right for me to speak out. I have evidence that I have produced from Danica Garner, Rochelle Campbell, Rose Kelly. It shows that they're scared shitless of Ted. Same thing with Natalie Bollinger. Now, we got a lot of issues here. There are game players like Jamie Curtis who think that it's okay. You know how Jamie was able to manipulate me? She used her son. The things that she said about James Payton made me fear for her son's safety. So you're damn right I'm speaking out. There is nobody on this planet I care more about than Jamie's son. That's why she told me the things that she did. Now, if she'd asked for my help, I'd have come running anyway. She didn't have to manipulate me in that way. She didn't have to paint James out to be some sort of evil villain when he wasn't. But also, some of the things that James had to say were not completely correct. I know because I was there for much of it. On September 7th of 2016, there's a picture of an owl that I sent out to almost everyone I knew. I was pretty proud of saving that great horned owl. Myself, an officer from Boston, and a man from the Raptor Refuge up there all took part in rescuing that owl outside of Jamie's new apartment the day she moved in, or the day she got the apartment, because she hadn't moved anything in yet. According to what James said transpired that night, Jamie punched him in the face trying to break his nose. And that's when he pushed her. Well, that bruise was all the way up her back. However, as I was not there, all I have to go by is her word and his word. And her word keeps changing depending on who she's talking to. You're damn right I speak out. I'm proud of myself for doing so. I'm proud of myself for standing up to people, even though they take their families and gang up on me. That's the point. Between protecting their families of their family's wrongdoing and doing the right thing, they did not do the right thing. I love my little brother, Michael Allen Albert. I really do. But he's a child molester. And I'm not going to hide that. My grandpa, Brian Bruns, raped my mother repeatedly, and I'm not going to hide that. My mother chose drugs over her own children, and I'm not going to hide that.